Hey guys, we are here today talking about how to build trust through consistent thoughtfulness. If you don't know, my name is Shang. I am one of the two of the biblical couple. My lovely wife Joanna is not here with us today, but I am going to continue to record for us on this little series we're talking about in terms of building trust. And if you guys remember, the definition of trust is the confidence to entrust your care to someone because they accurately reflect God's attributes. Now, having consistent thoughtfulness reflects the attribute of God's faithfulness. Because when we are thoughtful of one another as husband and wife, we make good on our commitment to one another, the vow that we've made to care for one another through thick and thin. If we are to be consistently thoughtful towards one another, the consistent question we should be asking ourselves is, how can I be meeting my spouse's needs so my spouse can be abundantly fruitful? You can think about Jesus' parable of the sowers in Matthew 13:8, where he talks about how the different yields from the good soil could be 100-fold or 60-fold or 30-fold, and you definitely want to be helping your spouse be that 100-fold fruit-bearing tree. So how do you, as husband and wife, do this? I like to liken it to various parts of a house. You can think about your very own house as having the foundation of Christ and being surrounded by the walls of the husband and having the warmth and refreshment of the wife as the fireplace, having the roof as the protection of the Heavenly Father, and having the Spirit be the mortar that brings everything together. Ephesians 5:29 commands husbands to nourish and cherish their wives. And that Greek verb for cherish means to fondly and affectionately care for. And it was actually used in secular Greek of mama birds sitting on their eggs, basically warming through body heat. Now, that is a wonderful image for husbands to think about, where husbands ought to be cherishing their wives by bringing them close, by protecting them. And that is really the key word, protection, right? And that's what the walls of the house do. The walls of the house offer ample security, and a husband can do that through ample verbal affirmation to always encourage his wife, to always remind her that he is indeed thinking of her and always increasing in his love for her. A husband also ought to give consistent quality time to his wife so that he can grow in his understanding of her every single day, which is what 1 Peter 3:7 talks about. And as he grows in his understanding of her, what's going to come up to the surface is the various insecurities that she has. And one of the ways that a husband can be consistently thoughtful is by taking those insecurities and shoring them up through thoughtful, wise planning. I'll give you guys an example from today from me and Joanna's experience, and I don't say this to say that I know everything or to say that I'm a perfect example, but by God's grace, I think that this one was right in line of what I'm trying to explain. Today, we were kind of mind-boggled thinking about, all right, man, Joanna is going to come back from grocery shopping a little bit later than expected, probably about 5:30, and then if she starts cooking, she's not going to be able to get dinner onto the table by like 8 or so, right? Because she also feeds Rowie at around 6:30, so she'd have to take a break. And so I was thinking, all right, let's be wise with the planning about this. And I was like, Joanna, okay, I have an idea. I looked into the freezer and I saw that we have some leftover quinoa skillet that she made a while back. I told her, hey, why don't you go and pick up some Chick-fil-A? I'm going to put the quinoa skillet into the microwave tomorrow for work. That's going to cover my lunch. And then you're going to already have some lunch leftovers that you made today, mac and cheese. And then that means you won't need to make the Thai basil chicken until Thursday. And then that's going to be able to save us on our time. And we're going to be able to start the week off right by going to sleep on time. Now that is a very simple and practical example, but it definitely took the load off of Joanna's shoulders. I could see it through the text message of, yeah, that's a great idea. And that's just a fun way that I, as a husband, can practice good oversight and just rearrange some things so that she could be set up for success in the work that she's doing, and so that we could be set up for success in the week. And it absolutely increased her security, increased her trust. A husband can also be consistently thoughtful by looking out for physical labor that he might help with. Maybe his wife is tired and he can help with smashing through a bunch of dishes, or maybe the bathtub needs some scrubbing, and so he's thinking, hey honey, I'll take that off your hands and let me put in some elbow grease. Or maybe he just happens to be much taller than her. I like to make fun of Joanna for being very short. She's not actually short at all, but that's like one of our jokes. And I'm taller than her significantly, so I'll have fun reaching up for a bowl and kind of rubbing in that I am significantly taller than her. It's one of our fun things, but it shows that I care about her and I'm thoughtful about her as well, and with the added bonus of just being playful towards one another. But the most important thing, and I'm already convicted myself just saying it, so that's one of the added benefits of these videos, is being prayerful. Praying for your wife, husbands, is the most important way that you could be thoughtful of her consistently, and that absolutely builds the trust when your wife can see, wow, he's actually praying for me. So why don't you have a list that you are building in your phone, and you can just go and ask her consistently, maybe once a week or every few days, and ask her just, how can I be praying for you? And you follow up about the things that she's asking for prayer for. Wives, I did not forget about you. Your husband absolutely has needs that you could meet so that he could be as fruitful as possible. One of those things is being appreciative and welcoming of his touch. That may seem odd to some folks, but I have definitely seen my fair share of wives who kind of recoil when their husband tries to touch them. And maybe their husband was indeed being foolish, but a lot of times it's just simply because she's tired or lazy or just being pretty much selfish and not really wanting to respond to him. So wives, be open to that touch and appreciate it. And if he is trying to communicate that sort of affection to you, be affectionate back. And that's how you can build trust, by being thoughtful, simply by reciprocating and even initiating just a warm care like that. And wives, I'm sure you know better than me that your words are so incredibly powerful to be able to build up or to destroy. So wives, you can be consistently thoughtful by giving sweet words of encouragement, being able to build him up, being his main cheerleader, showing him that affection, just showing him how much you appreciate him for the little things and things that are just specific to him. The things that aren't generic, just like, oh, I'm just so thankful for you because you're my husband, or, something like that. I mean, that could be really sweet, but, it has to actually mean something behind it. You could say, oh, I'm so appreciative of your patience. You are so patient with the kids, hun, and I just love that about you, and it's just a fantastic example to me. Wow! You could imagine how much he would beam with that confidence boost to know that his wife respects him and thinks about him and encourages him. Another way, wives, you could be consistently thoughtful of your husband is by ensuring that he has enough time to do what he needs to do. And so that might mean taking on some extra projects around the home, or taking some things off of his plate. Or it might mean just simply being thoughtful of the time that you spend together, not being selfish with the time that you spend together, but being thoughtful and smart about how you use the time so that it just increases the quality and it has a succinctness to it where it's purposeful. I always like to say that quality time equals intentionality times quantity. So if you increase the intentionality and you think about, maybe he's really got to be working on some ministry stuff, or no, he's really needs to work on his work projects right now. You could be thinking about, okay, how can I take on more myself, or give him a little bit less time with me so that he can just really focus on what he needs to do. And then come back afterwards with some nice cut up fruits and some nice sweet kisses. And then you guys can wash up together, and oh, it's just so sweet. Plus productive. It's said that the way to a man's heart is through his stomach. And in Proverbs 31, verse 14, it says of the Proverbs 31 woman that she's like merchant ships. She brings food from afar. And that essentially meant was that she would go far and wide to find the best spices, the best produce, the best meats, to all produce the best meals for her family. And so one of the ways that you can show thoughtfulness towards your husband is by preparing his favorite meals to fuel him and show him that he's special to you. On that note, you could be consistently thoughtful of your husband by helping him find the best clothing for what he needs to do. Maybe it's for work, or maybe it's for church, or if you see that he's been needing some extra tennis shoes to play some weekend tennis, whatever it is, you can help him find some cool deals on that. And not simply because you don't trust his fashion sense and you want him to look a little bit sharper, but because you care about him and you just want him to be fitted out nicely. That's a really fun way to build trust. And wives, last but not least is, you guessed it, ding, 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 prayer. Prayer, prayer, prayer. Praying for your husband. What husband is not going to soar in confidence and thankfulness to the Lord when he sees the laundry list of prayers that his wife brings to the Lord for him? Go out and pray for your husband. Build that trust through that consistent thoughtfulness. Why don't you guys share with us in the comment box below, which one of these applications do you want to take on to build that consistent thoughtfulness so that you can have trust in your marriage? See you guys in the next one. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit that alarm bell button so you can see more of my face and hopefully more of Joanna's face very, very soon.